basically took everything that they could within those rights and made a theme park behind it. They do the same thing with Space Jam too. Now, what I really would like is if Disney really honored and respected Chadwick Boseman and Black Panther, go ahead and go to Africa, make a theme park based on Wakanda. Yes, I would
like seeing where Wakanda is, which is where is Wakanda?
Kenya. Kenya, it's like the border of Kenya and
Southern Ethiopia, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go.
Now check
there
this,
you go.
Africa needs a theme park, if you ask me.
Yeah.
You have London has a Disney.
Yeah.
China has a Disney. Japan has a Disney.
We gotta get something out.
We gotta get something in Africa.
But I heard there was some funny stuff going on with, the Black Panther. Like, it's the reason why Chadwick passed away, and some of the funny stuff going on.
I can't.
Yeah, I haven't heard about that.
I'm not in the entertainment world. I don't know a person, so I'm not gonna say that. To me, he was a fucking hard ass fucking entertainer worker to have been going through that and still produce the type of film that he produced within the time frame. I mean, if you think about it, you see most actors do a film now, they're like licensed to do at least 2-3 films in 1 year, which is why you see, someone like Joaquin Phoenix, who has 2 movies in 1 year, and then you don't see him again for another 2-3 years, because when they get the rights for one film, they're getting 2-3 back to back. So okay,
filming that whole time.
Right. So I mean, he was just doing shit back to back, and to know that he was going through that type of illness, that's amazing.
That was a waste of 2 hours of my life.
But y'all haven't heard about,
2.5 hours. 3 hours.
the tribe in Kenya suing Disney because they said they gave a whole lot of secrets in Black Panther and they weren't supposed to be there. And evidently, they said, okay, we'll give you a warning, but if you do it again, the ancestors might not like what's going on. Thus, the death of Chadwick Boseman. And
I mean, they paid homage and gave respect to
That's some interesting.
I mean,
yeah, I've heard about that.
Ryan Coogler is like he was going to Africa multiple times before he started.
I mean,
producing the film.
Ryan Coogler made the actors go through, voice acting and voice training.
He was
to
being
actually
really
study
respectful.
the people in the native, that's amazing to me. I mean, because you have to think of where the story of Black Panther was written by Stan Lee at a time where a black man was not being pictured as a king and a superhero.
But you really think he wrote that himself? He had some, he had some help.
I think he did write it himself.
Stanley was pretty woke.
I mean, you talking about what? He was Jewish? Wasn't
Stanley was
Jewish?
pretty progressive for the type of person that you see.
Right.
Like, you'd be like, that guy's, probably he was pretty progressive.
You have to go back. You have to go back to that time period and think about where he was starting out with them other artists as a comic book. They was like comic books was sought as mediocre literature. It wasn't even sought as like today. Comics is on the same shelf as your novels and stuff. Because now graphic novel is a thing. Before graphic novel was at that time, half the stories that Stan Lee wanted to do, the characters he wanted to do, they was telling him and throwing this. They didn't think that a scientist turning into a beast and how are people gonna relate to this. All his characters at the time, it was above and groundbreaking. Like people never thought about the type of dichotomy. DC was making these souped up, overpowered characters.
Yeah, this is super strong, unrelatable. It was cool. Like as a kid, I'm sure you were probably like, "This is amazing."
Right.
As an adult, you're like, "Okay, Batman's a vigilante. He has all this money. Right? Superman is a freak from another planet."
But that's where we start at because Batman is Batman. Right. Superman is Superman. It's not until afterwards they started building backstories and alter egos afterwards.
Yeah.
With Spider-Man, with the Hulk, with Wolverine, you learned their alter ego first.
Yeah, you learned their history
before they became the character. Yeah, that's why people love Peter Parker so much. Why people love Logan so much.
That's such a good analysis because like think about like those super old first edition Supermans. You see like this dude working in the office and they just talk about we're at the Daily Planet and then like a burglar Joker's outside. That's the next scene, and then boom, Superman pops on the scene. So you're like, okay, why did I start in the office, right? And then Superman does his thing for a while. A couple issues later, you find out, oh, that's Clark Kent. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then it leads you in that way. But in the Marvel comics, you sitting in a high school with this kid for a couple episodes. He's bullied. He's really, really smart. He has this girl he has a crush on that he doesn't have the balls to talk to.
Right.
And depending on which comic you read, he's messing around on a field trip or in an alley. Boom, gets bit by this radioactive spider. Over another 10 editions, he slowly develops power. Like, it's such a more involving and more humanistic, like, the character development that you grow with these guys. So that's a really good analysis.
That's another thing too. When you break down the Marvel heroes to their necessities, right?
Yeah.
Anybody can relate to them.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's
You
true.
break down DC heroes to
It's tough to relate. Yeah.
you can't relate to
Right.
them.
Right.
Okay, Superman. Okay, Clark Kent. He's actually an alien who's donned a superhero.
He's not a human.
He's
Right.
a human.
He didn't
Right.
start off human.
Bruce Wayne. He's a playboy philanthropist billionaire. And at night, he dons on the cape and cowl. He becomes Batman.
Right.
Right.
Just for fun until he started building relationships.
Okay, so he's already a billionaire.
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
Then you make him a smart ass detective. You make him a ninja assassin. You make him a special. He's a fucking.
Strongest man on earth.
He gets his back broken. Everything in his body. Was
Right. Yeah.
and he still comes back.
Yeah.
Then you put him in the Justice League, and he's a only superhero that don't have any fucking powers, but yet he's the deadliest one because he sits around a superhero long enough to learn everyone's weakness and got a trick in his belt for every just in case moment that they pop off and want to be wrong.
That's crazy.
He is so much of a damn OP looking character. It ain't fucking
There's
stupid.
no human being on the planet that can beat that.
Look at that damn Green Arrow. Green Arrow in the comic books, he was a crackhead.
Yeah.
He was high on fucking drugs and shit. They had to edit shit out of the original comic books because you couldn't sell that shit to kids. The only
Crackhead.
reason why they was banned in comic books is because DC was doing shit like that. They're trying to get away with it. And then you want to make this man a supreme marksman? He's on coke half the fucking time. How the hell is a supreme marksman? I think this is,
Right.
you know,
I think the couple of this one you could possibly like maybe relate to might be Green Lantern. You know, this dude's
talking about Hal Jordan, the Black Green Lantern. Closest one I can relate to is fucking Robin.
Robin.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you why. Because, and I'm talking about the original Robin.
And that's
though.
even a side.
Right. he was, okay, so he was an orphan that was actually, his parents was a family of acrobats.
Yep.
The
Kinda like
circus went
Catwoman.
down, the shit went happen, so he's a regular Joe Blow now. But because he was in the orphan academy that was owned by Bruce Wayne looks at him and said, okay, I see you got potential. Let me take you under my wing.
Right.
Then he learns all the ways of Batman and say, okay, you got this guy, Joker, he's bad. Everything we do is bad. Yet you want to lock him up instead of killing him. Why don't you just fucking kill him? Then Joker gets a hold of Robin,
And kills him.
him, and then gets brought back by the Lazarus pit because Joker thought it'd be funny if he would be brought back after Batman first went peace is dead. Then he come back as the Red Hood. It's like you still doing the same shit, Batman. I know all your tricks. I'm gonna give you everything you. Well, I want you to do it. Even at the moment where he gave him similar to a Green Goblin, Superman, Spider-Man, and Gwen Stacy moment where you're gonna save these kids, or you're gonna save Gwen Stacy. Which one? He says, Batman, I got a bullet to Joker's head. What are you gonna do? You gonna stop me, or you gonna let me kill Joker? And still, he wanna be the daddy. He just ain't your fucking daddy. He ain't your fucking son. He's gone wayside. Understand, he's doing something that you never did, that you never thought. The reason why? Because although all of Batman's villains have been psychologically evaluated, Bruce Wayne has never been psychologically evaluated.
He's just crazy.
He's just a crazy.
Look, one of my coworkers made this one of the best like elaborations. Batman and the Joker are best friends.
They are.
They're best friends. They feed off of one another's crazy.
They do.
They can't get enough of one another.
They do.
It's that yin and yang principles, you
It's
know.
one of those
Right.
crazy loving relationships. Like,
Or they both feel like they take each other out, then they got to kill themselves.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Psychological turmoil.
Right.
It is.
Right.
It really is. Like
Right.
Batman cannot live without Joker, and Joker cannot live
Right.
without Batman. And Joker would not allow anyone to beat him to Batman, and Batman would not allow himself to allow anyone to beat him to Joker. That's just
They love each other.
They do. Yeah. Yeah.
Hate relationship.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. It's the fair necessity.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's what it is.
Crazy, but
And actually, Joker ain't a bad guy. He's a vigilante, just like Batman.
They're the same person.
Same person. I mean, if you would take Hakeem Phoenix situation where his laughter is a what you call it? It's a personal like mental defect.
hmm
He's not
Disability.
accountable.
Yeah.
He has a disability. He's not
Mhm.
accountable for his actions. He should be in a mental institution. But even if he's mentally institutionalized, there's no cure for him.
And what's even crazier is he didn't do that on his own. He didn't do that, and that's why I like that. Out of all the Jokers in my life, you know, since I've been alive the last 24, 25 years,
that's all you
that's
are?
the best one.
You're 25?
Yeah, I'm 24.
24?
25 in March.
I'm
All right.
35.
35? 44, man. 44.
Hey, so look, yeah,
Love it.
three of those decades
Right.
since comics have been major since
Yeah.
the since the late 70s. Comics have been booming right all over the world. So
Actually, before
that's
that.
what I like because again he didn't do any of those things on his own. Humanity pushed him towards that level of craziness. Yeah. And that's you see that, and it's so relatable and like real crazy.
That's why they make so much money, because it's so relatable.
That was the point.
I relate to
It's
that.
so
Because
relatable.
like, out of all the DC films,
Right.
yeah, the DC is, especially the DCEU, has not been great.
hmm
But that standalone Joker film,
Yeah.
was really freaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
relate to myself. I grew up with a speech impediment, stuttering real bad.
hmm
And like it was like, you know, kids growing up in high school, you know, they see weakness. They see it.
They smell it out.
They smell
Right.
They feed on it.
Right.
Like, it's not your fault you weak. You know, everybody not brought in this world to defend themselves at every jump. I mean, I
Mhm.
grew up as an only child at first, like my first 8 years of my life. So, you
Mhm.
know, growing up with brothers and knowing when another guy is just testing your bravado, you know, that's something I had to learn in school. And something like that, you know, that's not something you just pick up on.
Right.
And so, you talking about speech impediment. I was growing out of my clothes before I could. So I was getting
Some
picking
new
on
ones.
hot water pants,
Mhm.
my clothes and stuff.
hmm
I had a lot of things going against me. You're talking about being defensive. So you're talking about as relating that to Hakeem Phoenix Joker. You're like, what the hell? He had a speech impediment.
Mhm.
You know, he had a mental defect. You know,
Mhm.
that's not. So when
And he
you
did it
said-
when he was nervous, and they just took it as like, you think you're better than me?
hmm
Right. And like, that was
Yeah.
good.
It was a great movie. It was a great movie.
So,
It was a
yeah,
great
I
movie.
mean, I relate to heroes and villains like that because, you know, when you make them just too OP, it just doesn't make any sense. Like I said, like you take those stories and you break it down to the bare necessity. It could be Asian, it could be white, it could be black. Bruce Wayne could have been a black man,
Uh-huh.
you know, and he still would have been just as good as a fucking story. So to say that, oh, Black Panther, you know, why did it have to be? Did you really think he wrote that story? Yeah, I think Stanley did write that story because at that time he was trying to push the envelope.
Yeah, he was almost getting boycotted and banned. And like they were trying to slow his production when he started to branch out of the white man superhero as the guy on the cover. Like when that first cover dropped, with Black Panther at the cover,
hmm
they still couldn't put his face. They had to put the mask over it. It was crazy. Like everybody was like comic knew he was a black dude.
Uh-huh.
Or like from the regular consumer, you might just think it's white guy in a Black Panther suit. So it's like even that, it's just crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
It was a lot of characters in the comic books. They tried to make black,
Yeah.
but they had a problem with the ink at the time. You know, the ink wasn't as advanced. You know,
And just looking real sloppy.
so like in the comic books, Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin,
Was a black man.
He was supposed to be
Right.
He was supposed to be black.
Right.
So when we had Clark Duncan, as you know, playing-
That was the right
that was the
kingpin.
way to go about it.
Because it makes sense, you know?
That was actually
But, you
It
know,
makes sense.
they had an issue with that in the comic book, so they changed it in the colors or whatever. So they thought this pink man who was supposed to be black, they thought he was supposed to be white, and that's where that whole came. And it wasn't Marvel that problem came about, because when they sent it off to the printing press, the printing press didn't know what the color to put. So they just said,
Them the ones that was slowing his production on the Black Panther stuff. It was like, we can't do it. You might as well shelf it.
Right.
As ink and stuff was evolving, that's why Stan Lee he's been thinking about this idea. Let me look up. I want to make sure.
Yeah, because like I said, I hear what y'all saying, but not one man can, come with all those stories. He had to steal those stories from somewhere.
See, that's where if you watch Disney Plus, if you haven't,
I do have it. Yeah.
They got the little extras and stuff.
Yeah, they got the extras on there, and it's one of that was, I think it's one of the episodes is called like it's Marvel's. I mean, if you go into the Marvel's tab, there's a couple other documentaries on there that explain this stuff. That's where most I get my information from. But so a lot of the characters that was made, like they give credit to Steve Jack Kirby
as the artist.
Right.
The artist.
Right.
So like issue with Silver Circle, right? So Stan Lee created Galactus, and he wanted Jack Kirby to push the story along. So when he gave him the storyboards to finish the story and help him, with the characters and stuff, and when he got the drawings back, he was like, "Who is this character?" "Oh, that's Silver Surfer." I thought it'd be more interesting if Galactus, when he goes to devour a world, he sends out a herald first to do his bidding. That's where. So some of the characters
Come from Kirby.
Like they was originated. So you had a lot of issues like that where I'm the writer, I send it off to you to do the ink and drawing, and then I get it back. I'm like, what is this? This isn't what I said. And it was like, the editor loved it. So by the time it got to the editor, then when you get back to the writer, like, oh, did you see this was going on? Like,
and then it just boom. Right. It's on, and that's what I love about Stan. That's why there's no way that Stan Lee was like a bad dude, because he would get all this stuff back, and he never was like, nah, that's not it. He would figure out a way, even if it wasn't good. He would figure out a way to expand his own mind on this universe that he was creating. And it's like,
You said he figured out a way.
right.
Well, I'll give you a perfect example. Okay, the greatest yin and yang in comic history is Professor X and Magneto, and you know where that came from. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and that makes perfect sense every time I see the movies. I think of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. It's, right, but prime example.
I was gonna say Black Panther's first appearance was in Fantastic Four 52,
right,
July 1966, and this is something that I'm sure he had on his mind this whole time all of this was going on. Because 66 and 67 was major years.
Well, the Black Panthers were created that same year in Oakland. That's not a coincidence.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Stan Lee is trying to give us a voice in his comics. That's what I'm saying.
Or he stole the idea
from a black man.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Well, not necessarily from a black man, but from sources, different sources. Because
I still wouldn't call Stan Lee like a mischievous or against us.
I'm not saying it's good or bad. You know what I'm saying? It's business. It's business. You get rich by ideas, and he stole idea. I wouldn't say he stole idea, but he didn't come up with it though. He didn't come up with not with everything. Because
I mean, like he probably came up with the idea of Black Panther as a first idea. So I want to have a black hero, and I want him to be this, and he's going to be the king of Wakanda, and all this other stuff. It was other artists that once they got the hold of the story and said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to add this, or I think he should be this. And that's where you get the vibranium and stuff from. Vibranium was made with the shield, the Captain America. Like, I guarantee you that before Black Panther came on the scene, nobody knew what Captain America's shield was made out of.
Right.
It was until the writer or the artist got a hold of Black Panther, they embellished on it, and was like, okay, vibranium, it's going to be so valuable that they don't even know that this is what Captain America's shield is made out of. And it made the story even more better I mean, to say that Stan Lee had, the original idea, and someone else came in and added to it, and that's what it stuck. Yeah.
Well, we'll think about it like this. Okay, let's talk about Captain America. Okay, Captain America came out in the 40s during World War II, right? Did you see the new Falcon and Winter Soldier?
See, this is real quick. This is the title I was talking about was controversial. You see how he cut open with his face? And he wasn't gonna show his face.
Right.
But they showing the black.
No, I believe you. I believe you.
That's the first one that Black Panther ever showed up on the cover of.
Right.
It was super controversial.
Right, but the whole concept of a super soldier, that was actually real. Like the black character that they emphasized in that's a true story. That actually happened.
The series.
Yeah.
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 And you saw who the first first black. Captain
Right,
America
the
was
first black
after
super soldier.
him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and you saw what happened. What the story was with him.
But that actually happened. That's a true story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna revisit that in MCU. I know they will.
The point is that those stories, they come from legend, and legend a lot of times come from some truth. There's some truth in it.
Oh, for sure.
There's some truth in
I was
it.
just reading, remember about the all Negro comics in New York in the 40s and 50s,
Mm-hmm.
and that's probably where Stan pulled a lot of his inspiration from.
Yeah.
Which,
I mean,
again, I get it. We don't get the credit from the sense of Stan Lee being this powerhouse of comics, but I still appreciate him for taking the time to look into us as like people of power, people he could put in a place of power, instead of just having this idea in that time, especially whites, because that wasn't
Right.
ever him. So I see the.
Again, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but
I see the conversation.
I just see, from an entrepreneur mindset, it's corporate warfare. That's what I see.
the thing is, at that time where it wasn't shunned against the artists for creating characters that was of one race.
Uh-huh.
Because you, as an artist, you create your characters in the image of you. They're somewhat of a derivative of you,
Who you are.
your personality, whatever.
Okay.
Mickey Mouse, Walt Disney designed him in his image of a mouse that he's something to be related to his childhood. And that's how that came from. You got Winnie the Pooh, the artist. He was a heavyset guy, whatever. He related with teddy bears, so that's what he came with. That's what when he drew. That's what came up. Rocco's Modern Life. The guy, he wore Hawaiian shirts, whatever. He thought it was cool. What if I put a kangaroo, and it stuck with him. So it wasn't always shunned on you have a character that if I'm white, I'm gonna draw a white character. If I'm black, I'm gonna draw a black character.
Right.
It's my, like me as an artist, when I draw black people how I want to.
Right.
Unless I say I want this to be a white character, but even if so, that's my choice.
Mhm.
People weren't so anal retentive and so culturally biased where it's like, yo, you do this all the time, why don't you do this? I'm like, I do what I want.
Exactly, yeah.
My
Right.
artistic expression.
Mhm.
You either take it, you love it, you hate it, you don't, whatever, I'm gonna move on, whatever you do, whatever.
Is that what you do? You're an artist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been dormant
Mhm.
from drawing because work life right now takes a lot of energy out of you.
Yeah, for sure.
To get up, go to sleep, work. After you get off work, you ain't got no time to do nothing for yourself. But sit down and just fucking relax. So, being an artistic mind for me, I need to be in the headspace.
Mhm.
I need to be unbothered, in my zone, and having a limitation of my time, I can't do that. So that's just where I'm at. Like every time now and then I force myself to, but for the most part, I'm not doing as much as I want to.
What do you do?
I'm a football coach.
Where?
Nowhere right now. I was just coaching here in South Dakota last year.
South Dakota.
Where AJ.
South Dakota.
Yeah, I was up there
Oh,
coaching
man.
Division II football. Right now, I'm a security supervisor at a car lot
Okay.
over in Atlanta,
Which one?
Manheim, Georgia.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm on that website every day.
yeah.
I'm in the car business, so
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. That's just temporary. I gotta figure out these next steps. I probably gotta get a teacher's certificate. Go high school.
It's all good. You definitely are in the right state if you're trying to be a football coach. Yeah.
How many
Yeah.
miles you walk, you may not realize how many stepping stones you step on. But there's a reason for every stone that do.
Oh, I believe that. I believe that.
Every
I believe
step
that.
you take is a moment for everyone. Sometimes you may feel like you've driven off the road and your path has changed, but you know, there's a purpose.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to go on that dirt road because 18 wheeler coming down your side of the lane, 70 miles per hour. You back on later on.
Yep.
So, yep. I'm not embracing it, but I'm taking it day by day.
I feel you, man.
I just know it's not my purpose, not my calling.
I feel you. Dang, I didn't think I was working 8 years of one of the top airline companies, but hey, here it is.
What do you do for him?
Work the ramp.
Okay.
It's not bad.
That's what's up.
My dad used to fuel
It's a blessing.
Okay. Yeah, rough job.
Yeah, he told me 2, 3 in the morning, just filling planes, right?
It's a blessing, yo.
Yeah. What do you do?
I'm an entrepreneur. I sell cars. And I record podcast sessions from time to time, which is what I'm doing right now, you know. Yeah, so, nah, yeah.
I'm gonna start my YouTube soon. I'm supposed, God gave it to me in February. I've been procrastinating.
Oh, yeah.
Start, man, you gotta keep it going.
No, y'all, both y'all text me, because like I said, I record podcast sessions. I got a spot in the West End that I'm setting up.
Cool.
Y'all should come by.
We can talk about anything.
Exactly. Y'all should come by.
Cause I like the network. I got my degree in mass communications, media production, broadcast journalism.
There you go. You got
Yeah.
something to use.
Text me. Yeah, y'all text me. Yeah, text me.
I got you.
Yeah. This my battery's about to, huh?
You got a studio? You said
It's gonna be, yeah, it's yeah, it's everything.
some other stuff. But I got some other guys. Really space. I'm thinking about renting out and
Oh yeah?
football ready content.